The Premier League is back this weekend. We are ready to get on that emotional rollercoaster all over again. Manchester United, I am certain, will take us through some ups and definitely some downs as well. The question is, what will the 11 be taking us on this adventure? Now, of course, the whole squad is going to be important, but I do now think we have a pretty decent understanding of Erik ten Hag's preferred starting 11. Let's take a look. So naturally, we are going to start off in a goal where Andre Onana will almost definitely be Manchester United's starting goalkeeper this season, unless we see some sort of injury. What do we want from Onana this season? Basically, what we saw in the Premier League last year, rather than what we saw in the Champions League, please and thank you. But I think in particular what we really want to see is an emphasis on his passing game. He has hinted in recent weeks that he is ready to take more risks on the ball this season, and that to me implies that we will be looking to play out under pressure. And for me, that's a good thing with Onana. That's why we signed him. We signed him because of his elite ball-playing ability. I'm really hopeful we get to see that this season. Something else I would like to see is more of the sweeping side of his game as well, particularly if Manchester United do operate with a better high press, a higher defensive line, leaving more room for Onana. I'm hoping to see more of that sweeping side of his game. And then apart from that, outside of the passing and sweeping, I'm just looking for a consistency in his actions in goal, his shot stopping, his diving technique at times. I want to see a consistency and a slight improvement. But in general, Onana in goal, we're in good hands. I'm pretty sure he'll have a good season. Next up, we have the left back position, where we are mainly going to be talking about fitness again this season, unfortunately. Should players stay fit, Luke Shaw will be our starting left back once again this season. He will play on the left hand side of the fence, and ultimately the main thing for him to have a better season than what he did last year, he's got to stay fit. Is that going to happen? I'm not too sure, but if he does, he is a hugely important player for United and Erik ten Hag because of his ability on the ball, his technical security, his press resistance and his ability to play in the first phase. Luke Shaw is one of our most composed players under pressure, and that is because he has the technical security. He trusts in his own ability, he knows he can play from the back, but he's also super important moving forward as well. When we are in the second phase, I think his ball progression is incredibly underrated. His ability to drive forward with the ball, his ability to take players on and beat them, but also his ability to pass forward, curl balls in behind the opposition defence and things like that, and of course also get up in support of our left winger as well. Luke Shaw, if he can stay fit, is going to be huge for United this year. If not, we're looking towards someone like Malacia, will he return? Harry Amas, will he? Or maybe Mazroaui as a backup as well. Moving along the team, the next position to discuss is the left centre-back position, where, again, we are looking at fitness, but hopefully Lisandro Martinez can have a season where he stays fit. And it's a very similar situation to Luke Shaw. If Lisandro Martinez can stay fit, United are instantly going to be better playing from the back than what we were last season, because Lisandro Martinez is elite on the ball. He is a true organiser of this United team in possession, always pointing and pulling players into different positions, whilst also possessing genuinely elite equality on the ball. His ability to play from the back is insane. The way that he manipulates the ball, takes the ball away from the opponent, kind of moves the angles for this United side is so important. But then of course also actually the ability to play the ball as well. Through the lines, his ball progression is insane. The idea of having a left-footed centre-back and a left-footed left-back will certainly appeal to Erik ten Hag. We didn't have that last season. So Lisandro Martinez and Shaw, if they can stay fit, can become one of the best left-hand sides in world football. But it is a big if. They do need to stay fit. Obviously, the next thing to do is to complete our centre-back pairing at right centre-back, and I think early in the season, at least, it will be Ligt. Just now signing for the club, I do think he will come pretty much straight into this Manchester United team. Perhaps not literally in the first game week, but within the first couple of weeks, I think he will be a starter for United, particularly with Leny Yoro out injured. What's Ligt going to bring to the side? Well, it should be fresh in your minds. We literally just signed him. I only told you a few days ago. But Ligt should bring quality on the ball. Real quality and an ability to play in the first phase. Not elite like Lisandro Martinez is, but a very solid two-footed player on the ball. But I think it's out of possession where Ligt can be really exciting. This is an old school defender. Someone who wants to use his physical side of the game. He wants to be in duels and battles. He wants to compete with strikers. And that's refreshing because we haven't always had that over the past few seasons. This here could be real leadership at the heart of our defence. I've already spoken about Lisandro Martinez organising people. Ligt is a true leader. He has been ever since he was a teenager. Bringing that to the heart of our defence is going to be absolutely crucial. If he can stay fit and he can adjust to this new environment, Ligt could be one of United's most important players this season, but Yoro will be right there by the time we get to winter. He will be competing. We've also got ourselves some competition at right back as well, particularly with the new signing of Mazroaui. However, for the early parts of the season, I would expect it will be Diogo Dalot playing on the right-hand side of our defence. We all know how good he was from this position last season. Really good, one of United's best players. He needs to now take it up a notch, because we've never really seen him perform for 2 or more seasons in a row. This is his chance to now do that. Last season, like I said, he was one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. To cement that status, he has to do it again and go on to another level. In terms of what he will bring to the team, it's tactical versatility and flexibility. The ability to play left back or right back, to use both feet and play multiple roles. He can tuck into the back three, he can overlap on the right hand side, he can underlap on the right hand side, and he can even invert into midfield. In terms of his tactical role, I think you will see him doing a little bit of everything this season, because that's what Dalot does. In terms of an area of improvement, I'd love to see him improving with his end product in the final third. On several occasions, I have predicted that our right back will play higher this season. If I am to be right, and that is the case, we do need a bit more end product from Diogo Dalot, but I think he has it in his locker, so if he can do that, we could have ourselves a really nice back four there on the ball. In possession, there's some really nice stuff in this defence. As we move into midfield, I think we are going to see a fairly familiar look from what we saw last season, certainly in the opening weeks. I do think Casemiro will be our starting ball-winning midfielder. He will be the player responsible for protecting our defenders. Now, this could change within the next 4 weeks or so. We could see someone else brought into the club, perhaps Ugarte, Sanderberger, someone like that. We're not too sure. At the moment, it will be Casemiro. And whilst it's not ideal, it's not the dream scenario, he has played really well in pre-season. He looks sharp, he looks fit, and playing a proper pre-season campaign looks to have done him good. He does look fit and ready to go for this season. What does he need to do then? To be honest, what he didn't do last season. He needs to be a little bit more secure in possession. We do need more retention play from him. I understand that Ten Hag wants a direct style, but Casemiro, being an experienced player, has to recognise the cues of when you slow down a little bit. If he can do that, we've seen in the past few weeks, his forward passing range can be really impressive. So if he can time when he does it just a little bit better, he can be a hugely important weapon to United this season. In terms of the defensive work out of possession, I think we will see an improved Casemiro. One, because I'm hoping he will have developed an understanding of his new body, if you like, his body which can't do what it could do a few years ago. I'm hoping he has a better understanding and adapts accordingly. But also, I just think United as a unit defensively will be a little bit better. I think the high press will be better, meaning that our midfielders have to cover less space. So that should be good for Casemiro. I do think he will be replaced during the season, but I think he will start, and hopefully he starts well. As we move across to the right central midfield position, we are looking at another player that we'll be hoping to start fast and start well, and that is Kobbie Mainoo. Last season, he didn't get the chance right from the start, did he? Because of that injury. This is his chance at a full campaign in professional football, and if it's anything like what he done last year, it's going to be special again. Kobbie Mainoo, I would imagine, will perform this season. Now, I think it's important we remember this is a young player. We don't put too much pressure on him. He will have spells where he dips a little bit, where the form isn't quite as good. Perhaps he could start the season slowly because of being busy in the summer with England at the Euros. So it's going to be interesting to watch Kobbie Mainoo in the early weeks. I think we could expect a slow start, but hopefully once he gets going, he's going to cook again. He's Kobbie Mainoo. We love him, right? He really could cook for this side. In terms of an area of improvement, I want to see him given more responsibility, tactical responsibility. I want to see him getting on the ball more, because when he is on the ball, he seems phenomenal. So I want to see more of Kobbie Mainoo. You know, getting on the ball in deeper areas, in the middle phase, in the final third. Get involved all over the pitch. Play as a proper 8. Get himself involved. I would like to see the passing range improve a little bit as well. But Kobbie Mainoo is a very young player. I think he's going to be key for United. I think it would take something pretty impressive to displace him from this team. Kobbie Mainoo will start, and I'm pretty sure he'll play well. Another player that will almost definitely play well is that player playing in that sort of attacking midfield position. It is, of course, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has been doing it for Manchester United for several years now. We know what we're going to get. A leader. A true leader. Someone who sets the standard, leads by example, covers ground, works incredibly hard, is super intense, demands a lot from himself and his teammates, and produces as well. We all know that quality on the ball. His ability to create something out of nothing is phenomenal. I think at times last season, we also saw a development in his retention play at times, slowing it down a little bit. If he can continue to develop there, Bruno Fernandes is in for a big campaign. We're looking at a United side this season, which looks like it's going to press a little bit higher on goal kicks. That could give Bruno Fernandes a real opportunity to win the ball high and actually stat pad some assists. Winning the ball high on the tackle before feeding one of those forwards. I think Bruno Fernandes is going to have another big year. Extended his contract recently. Bruno is ready to cook, and I can't wait to see it. He's ours, and I love it. Now, as we move on to the front three, we have our first real talking point, and that is on the left-hand side of the attack. Now, for the start of the season, I do think Marcus Rashford will be our starting left winger. Now, that may not go down too well, but I think he will start the campaign. Partly because of Garnacho having a busy summer, and the fact that Rashford did look very bright in pre-season. People are talking about those Community Shield misses. He was in the positions, he understood the tactical role, he got himself into those positions. He just needs to work on that end product in the final third. If he can do that, we all know Marcus Rashford can be one of the most dangerous players on the planet. The problem is it does seem to be a big if. My advice would be, get behind him. He seems like a confidence player. I don't see what it achieves when we slate him, we criticise him over the top, we attack him. It doesn't make any sense. Get behind Marcus Rashford. It's a new season. Let's get behind him, because when he performs, he's so dangerous. He is so dangerous. He walks into most teams in the world. He is that good on the ball. Defensively, we do have to see an increase in his work rate and his output, and I think we did see glimpses of that in pre-season, but there is definitely still work to do. If he doesn't do this work, Garnacho is definitely a shout to come into this position eventually, because Garnacho is also looking very bright. He looked brilliant in the Community Shield. So yeah, I think we're in a good place on our left wing, because Rashford and Garnacho both represent really good threats. It also feels like we're in a pretty good place on the right-hand side of our attack as well, and that is thanks to the development of Amad. 6 months ago, it didn't really look like he had a massive future at Manchester United, but he has basically forced himself into this team with a strong end to last season when he was given opportunities and a brilliant pre-season campaign. For me, one of United's best performers. He brings something completely different to this attack, that wanting to come towards the ball, get the ball into feet, and then attack players. He can go inside onto his left, he can go outside onto his right, he can score goals, and he can create. Amad, if he stays fit and stays consistent this year, could pop. He could really go to the next level and be something special. But again, if he does have spells where he struggles, Garnacho will be right there breathing down his neck, and that's a brilliant thing for Erik ten Hag. This isn't about which player is better. We can manage this as who's in better form at the time, or tactically who suits this game the most. It's perfect for Ten Hag. Rashford, Amad, Garnacho on the wings, plus others. It's a dream. A real dream. And then finally, we have the striker position finishing off our team. We need a focal point up front, and I think fairly early in the season, it will be Joshua Zirkzee. Recently signed, of course, this summer. I think he will start the campaign up front. Now, not necessarily the first game, because there is a fitness concern there and a sharpness concern. It may be someone like Bruno, for example. But give it, by September, I think Zirkzee will be our starter, particularly with Rasmus Højlund currently out injured, and he will need to get back up to speed. I think Zirkzee's got a real opportunity to make this spot his own, and we know what he's going to bring to the team, that false 9 ability, or 9.5 as he described it, coming towards the ball, into feet, showing tricks, look for forward passes, and pre-assists, if you like. The assist to the assist. He may not get the stats himself, but I think he will be a really good influence on this Manchester United side. But again, Rasmus Højlund is going to be right there competing as well, and Højlund will also start a lot of games for United this season. And again, it's brilliant for Ten Hag. Last year we had a situation where we were desperately, some weeks, trying to scrape an 11 together. This year, it looks like we've got options. If players can stay fit, which seems like a big if because we seem to be cursed. But there's some real options for this Manchester United team, and it's huge for Erik ten Hag. If this is the 11 which we see, let's say by September, when everyone's back and fit, I would be pretty darn happy. It looks good. It looks good on paper. We will, of course, have to wait and see how it plays on the pitch, but I am hopeful going into this season. In terms of how this 11 will actually play on the pitch and set up tactically, well, that will be covered later on in the week, so subscribe for that, get notifications on. But apart from that, we are finished for today. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.